planned and commissioned state-of-art molecular diagnostic facility at the Kasturba Infection Disease Hospital in Mumbai, which is the molecular public health lab receiving samples from 4 tertiary care and 16 secondary care MCGM hospitals for dengue, for chikungunya, PCR, hepatitis B and C detection and quantitation. Lab conducts around 15,000 PCR tests per year. This was the first ICMR designated COVID testing lab in Mumbai in conducting RT-PCR tests since February 2020 when COVID caught us suddenly. Till date, under the leadership of Dr. Jayanti, there have been 1.5 lakh tests which have been conducted. Dr. Jayanti leadership is well known and her laboratory is recognized by the National AIDS Control Organization as Regional HIV Reference Laboratory for conducting HIV viral loads by real-time PCR and early infant diagnosis by DNA PCR. Dr. Jayanti has been receiving training in PCR at Research Institute of Microbial Diseases, Osaka University, Japan. She received Forgetty funded visiting scientist fellowship at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, New York, USA in 2009 and under AIDS International Training Program. Dr. Jayanti received Teaching Professorship Award from American Society of Microbiology in October 2015 to teach infectious disease at Tampa University of South Florida. Her keen interest is advocacy and behavioral change for implementation of the best practices in infection control molecular diagnosis of infectious diseases with special reference to validating newer diagnostic techniques for dengue, malaria, HIV, infection of biomarkers for disease progression, as well as now COVID. Dr. Jayanti has been an author, well-known author with 110 publications in international and national journals. She is a reviewer at IJMR, IJMM, Scientific Report Nature as well. Recently, she was interviewed by Karan Johar on her achievements as a COVID warrior. She is heading the COVID at Mumbai. She's also doing a joint research work on COVID along with her daughter, who is again a doctor, Dr. Aditi. She is in New York and working in Albert Einstein University. Dr. Jayanti is married to Dr. Surendra Shastri, the cancer specialist working in MD Anderson University, Houston, Texas, as a professor in cancer. He was earlier #2 position in Tata Memorial as a preventive oncologist. So on and so on. I can keep on talking about her, but then with the passage of time, I need to move forward because such a great personality who is into nation building. I salute her and I bow my head in front of her, such a powerful women power of our country. Dr. Jayanti, I am really excited to have you on my show, Women Power, a Global Movement, every Saturday. Welcome to this wonderful show, and you are certainly a great women power, ma'am. Ma'am, this global women power, unfortunately, we could not make your, backdrop virtual, is 100,000 women to be on this platform by 2021 and 1 million by 2024 around the world. The women power is spread in 20 countries in the world, and I feel proud that I am making this to happen because was told when I started it is not possible. And I said it's always possible because of my mentor, Dr. Kiran Bedi, who is number one women power. And she was the first one to be here on the show. Dr. Shastri, I will have some questions for you. And in the meanwhile, I would request the participants on YouTube, Facebook, Global TV, as well as Zoom to park their questions. Those people who are on Zoom, I will unmute them and they can ask the questions directly also. They can park the questions in the meanwhile, as I will have opportunity of getting great knowledge about this woman of excellence, about her journey of excellence. She is connected to me, my friend, my brother, Dr. Tyagarajan, who does a lot of great work in Faridabad Management Association, is my real great friend. And she is wonderful sister of Dr. Tyagarajan. And you are my sister as well, Dr. Jayanti. Dr. Jayanti, are you ready?
Yes.
Before we start, anything you would like to say?
At the outset, I would like to say a big thank you for inviting me in this program and for your very, very kind introduction. And I'm very happy to take this discussion forward.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jayanti. Dr. Jayanti, I would like to, I just came out from a program which is Unicorn People, and I am a partner to that program. And I had got a Dr. Kiran Bedi message to them. And the program is Being a Girl, My Voice, Our Equal Future. And Global Talent and Women Power has partnered into this program. I just inaugurated and came out and came here. And there's a lady from France, lady from Bangladesh, one lady from UAE, and two ladies from India talking on the subject, being a girl, my voice, our equal future. Now I'm going to ask you the first question, Dr. Jayanti. Your childhood, Delhi born, Delhi brought up. You had a very brilliant student career. You were a very good student through and through, which I came to know. Were there any issues, any challenges when you were growing up from a girl child? Because when I see girl child today and when I see girl child 30, 40 years back, 35, 40 years back, keen to know that how did you move and how did you break some of the barriers? And today you became a great doctor in the world. How was that journey as a girl child?
Well, I would like to say that I'm very fortunate. My parents were very progressive. In fact, I would give it 100% to my mother, who actually never discriminated between my brother and me, because she always felt that everybody should get equal opportunities. And I would also like to say that encouragement is very important. In addition to being progressive, it is important that you get encouragement at home. Again, I'm fortunate to have a brother who's always proud of me and my achievements. I think these things bring about a very positive attitude in the house. So, for any child to grow, well, I was fortunate to have been born during times when girls were given education. And not only given education, but I could participate in sports, I could participate in music. I used to learn music, participate in sports. And there was nothing that I was told that I cannot do. So when there are such kind of, when you have field which is totally open to you, and your thoughts, your ideas are nurtured, I think you are on the right ground, and you have a very positive milieu in the house for right attitudes. And my mother is a very, she used to be a very spiritual lady. So she always, both my parents used to feel that there is an objective in life and we have to pursue that objective. So I feel that I did get the right qualities in the growing ages. I got the right inputs, right values from my parents, and the right encouragement from all my family members.
Very beautiful. First of all, big round of applause to the great women power, your mom. My respects to her, because this is where, you can bring in women of excellence. Mom has to play a very important role. And I don't say that father does not have to play, but mother is quality. Mom is quality. We call mom as quality. And mom, when she supports a girl child, things are different. Now, out of two, between mom and dad, who has been a real mentor for you? And that too, when I understand that you have been a great singer. So, what kind of singing you have been doing as a child, and then moving on?
Let me answer your first question between mom and dad. Very early in life, I realized that you should take the positive things from people.
Ah,
So, my parents have been complementary to each other in a way that my father, he was a very, very practical person. He had he was very focused in his work. He was a very, very senior accounts officer in the Glaxo company in Okla in Delhi. He was extremely focused about his work. So I learned, that you have to be focused. And my mother, she was very, very supportive in extracurricular activities, as well as she used to give me all the encouragement in studies. As a student, I was never reminded that I have to study. I used to be very punctual. I used to do very disciplined in life. That's another thing I learned from my father is discipline. You have to see, time management and discipline is very important for you to progress. And these days I see that children, are lagging behind in discipline. So I think I took the best from both my parents. And as far as singing goes, I learned classical singing. I learned Carnatic music for almost 10 years. And it was very nice. It was a good blend between, it used to be a relaxation time of learning music. And my mother used to put me in practically all the classes. And she used to tell me that as much as you can learn when you're young. And honestly, today I remember what I learned at that time. I forget what I learn now, but I remember everything what I have learned at that time.
fascinating. Dr. Jayanti, when you were growing, did you know that you will become a doctor? One side you were a student, Miss Miranda. I mean, that's something very exciting. Other side you were into sports. So you were a multitask, multi-skilled person. And did you plan to be a doctor, or how did it happen? Or you had in your mind, or someone said, this is a great profession?
See, I'll tell you one thing. I never used to like maths.
Oh,
I never used to like because I thought I was never good at it. So then comes the career options. What are the career options? Yes, I was very much interested in medicine. And by the way, I was there only for 1 year in Miranda House as part of a pre-med course. So we had the 11th standard in school and we didn't have 12th standard in school. So we had to do the first year BSc. And at that time we had to appear for the entrance exams. So, I mean, I was very keen on becoming becoming a doctor and taking up medicine for the simple reason I always felt that that was a very good career for women. As a doctor, you are really respected in society. And at the same time, you can bring out the best which is within you. You can tap your own potentials to the best. And if you're capable, why not? So I tried my luck, and I was a very diligent student. I worked very hard in order to pass the entrance exam. And as I said, during my course also, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Beautiful. Proud of you, Dr. Jayanti. My next question, Dr. Jayanti, MBBS, gold medalist, MD, finally getting into something very critical, very important, molecular development labs, and even crafting and creating world-class state-of-art facilities. You seem to be having passion for excellence. I would like you to share with the audience, and especially the women power who are watching you now or who are going to be watching you later, because this YouTube gets into watching later a lot, your journey of excellence as a doctor and specifically core areas of molecular labs, etc. Excellence at every step of your life as a professional doctor.
So I told you why I joined medicine, because of course I wanted to be a doctor. And second thing, I didn't want to do anything to do with maths. So having said that, at this point, I would also like to bring to the fore the encouragement I got from each and every family member, including my parents. I have only one brother, and very encouraging. So I would like to quote Mahatma Gandhi here. Be the change you want to see.
Wow.
What do you want to see? You want to see that when you watch a game in cricket, this is what I teach my students also. What do you want to see in cricket? That the batsman should hit a sixer. So when we expect from others, others also expect from us. So when such an expectation is always there and you have to deliver your best, when that kind of objective is in front of you, you always strive for excellence and never short of excellence. And that is one quality I feel I have nurtured. I am I never bask in my laurels. I keep going on and on, thinking that, "theek hai, ho gaya, we achieved that. We have to move on. There are so many things to achieve in life. And whatever we do, we should make a difference."
Fantastic. Be the change. Wow. Make a difference. Mad. Making a difference. MAD, mad. And excellence, excellence of what you are doing. And you gave a very beautiful example of a batsman on the ground. When there's a 20-20, what we need is sixer. So that means that every time you are raising your expectation, and you rightly said, you are not into the limelight. Ladies and gentlemen, I was checking with Dr. Jayanti a couple of days back. I said, I want to put your flyer on the social media. Can you share with me your Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter handles? And I got a response back. You know what? The response was, I am not at any of this social media. My God, I got a shock of life. And I said, Dr. Jayanti is not in any of the platforms. So she is certainly not into limelight, but her personality, her persona, her excellence, her contribution to nation building makes her superstar, the women power of life. Great respects, and I am Dr. Jayanti. I am a leadership coach and a trainer and a facilitator. And you won't believe I'm getting a lot of tips from you, learning from you today on my leadership and management. And I was also never on social media, but COVID put me here. Otherwise, in case I am not here, what do? I am a man in action in the ground, in the halls, five-star hotels, and training halls. But I am here doing 150 webinars during COVID just to keep my heart active. I am not earning, but I am learning. I am not earning, but I am learning. See how beautifully you're making me to learn. Dr. Jayanti, what makes you to be different? What is that USP of Dr. Jayanti? And especially when I see your excellence during COVID days, so much of back to back work, so much of things happening. And at the same time, deciding to do the research with your daughter, Dr. Aditi, in New York. We would certainly like to know about your COVID experience as a doctor.
So, two things I would like to say that COVID really caught us unawares. We never knew that something of this magnitude was waiting for us in the month of February. So, in fact, I would like to applaud the efforts of the Indian Council of Medical Research because very early they realized that we must set up diagnostic laboratories in every part of India in order to extend testing for COVID. So when that happened, 3rd February, our lab was identified. As early as 3rd February, our lab was identified by the Indian Council of Medical Research to do the COVID-19 testing because we already had a world-class facility which was doing early diagnosis of infectious diseases by the well-known RT-PCR test. So I had the privilege of setting up this lab in 2007. So almost for 13 years, we have been doing this. Only thing is not for COVID, but for dengue, leptospira, for H1N1, for HIV, for hepatitis. So it was like our lab was ready, our people were trained. So we took on this challenge of testing COVID. It so happened in the month of March that ours was the only laboratory catering to testing for the whole of Mumbai. When I say whole of Mumbai, it is the public hospitals and the private hospitals. So it was like our lab was ready, our people were trained. So we took on this challenge of testing COVID. It so happened in the month of March that ours was the only laboratory catering to the whole of Mumbai. When I say whole of Mumbai, it is the public hospitals and the private hospitals. So it was like our lab was ready, our people were trained. And I took on this challenge of testing COVID. It so happened in the month of March. Technical glitch. Catering to the whole of Mumbai. When I say whole of So we started getting samples from the private and the public health hospitals. And in a day, we would get almost 200 to 300 samples, which extended to 500 to 600. To the upper limit was about 750 samples per day. We had to start round the clock testing because the health minister had visited the lab and he insisted that, we should start night testing. We recruited more staff. And getting trained staff at the time of the pandemic is quite a challenge. But however, we knew we had to do it. When you know that you have to do it, you have to deliver and you have to deliver quality results. I think it was something which we had to tap our own potentials to bring out the best. And I thank the Almighty that He gave us strength, courage to take on this daunting task, and we moved ahead. The only thing I had to always do is motivate my staff. My staff used to get dejected in between. They used to get depressed because, see, it is like we are doing COVID testing. How do we go back home? So in fact, Municipal Corporation had made arrangements for stay of all the frontline workers in various hotels because there was zero occupancy of hotels during the lockdown. So the Municipal Corporation had taken up these hotels, had given stay facilities for all these frontline workers because they were scared to go back home. They thought they would take the infection back home. So this way we moved on, and I think we did our best.
We would like to give you a big round of applause as a COVID warrior to support the human race. And it has been very tough, very difficult. My younger brother and a Babi, they are also into the medical profession, they're doctors, and I see them, how tough it is for them. And I have a lot of friends in the medical fraternity. Dr. Jayanti, while all is happening and India has been uh, very tough on the lockdown to put it in right in time, we still have long way to go on COVID. And I would like you to tell us and share with us. Now we are almost 7, 8 months at home. We are entering November tomorrow. And what is the way forward?
This is a good question. Even the medical fraternity has not faced such a virus. It is really a novel virus. It took us time to even understand the virus. To the extent, I feel we need to rewrite the textbooks of infectious diseases. So this is a zoonotic disease. When we say zoonotic disease, it has come from various animals. So we did have, in 2009 also, we had the pandemic of H1N1, but we had a treatment for that. We had oseltamivir, even if people got infected, they were treated. But this virus is very strange. Strange in the sense, number one, there is no treatment. It's highly transmissible. When it is highly transmissible, then you have to exactly do what is expected out of you, that is behavioral intervention. You have to wear a mask. What do you prevent? In fact, when you are talking, there are a lot of aerosols which are generated. So you prevent the spread of these aerosols in the closed room. So we insist that, in fact, I would like to say to all people that whenever a simple cloth mask, even when you're in the house, to prevent others from getting infected. The person who goes out, goes for grocery shopping, any other shopping, goes to the marketplace, has to wear a proper mask and a face shield. You have to cover your eyes. It is extremely important to cover your eyes, and that is why you should wear a face shield. And it is not a bad practice to even wear a simple cloth mask in the house also. The second most important thing is elderly people in the house. You have to protect the elderly people in the house. Now, I live in Mumbai. I know some people are not privileged enough to have individual bedrooms also, because the cost of living is so high. So you have to wear cloth masks when you come in close contact with elderly people. So social distancing, keep 6 feet distance, wear a mask, hand hygiene is again important. So these are the simple things which you should practice. And it's very easy to say, I can't breathe if I wear a mask, but weigh the advantages. Why are you only thinking about yourself? You have to think about others also. So this is the time when you think about others. How I should protect others from giving infection. It is not written on your face whether you will get infected or you have infection. If you get infected, you can infect 10 people in the house if 10 people are staying. So we have to be very cautious. We have to practice social distancing. If you're going out of the house, it's important you wear a mask. I'm not saying you should wear N95 mask like we wear in the hospital, but a simple cloth mask and a face shield. Why a face shield? Because you have to protect your eyes. If you have swimming glasses or 0 number glasses, then that is also fine. But infection can take place from the eyes also. And protect the elderly in the house. So these are the simple measures which one needs to follow. We don't know whether the vaccine is going to be that magic bullet, because we don't know how efficacious is the vaccine going to be. Is it going to be only 50% or 60% or 70%? We don't know. So by the next year, the turn of the year, we would probably come to know what is the efficacy of the vaccine. So until then, I think we have to keep a check on our own behavior.
Oh, very great. I think you have opened up our eyes, and even attendees must have got very clear thoughts that even at home, to wear a cloth mask is important. And I don't normally wear the mask at home, but whenever I am out, I wear the mask. But today there's an education. Dr. Jayanti, it's amazing. And when we look at you, you're like God. I mean, I bow my head. You're exactly like God for all of us. And we need to respect you and many other medical practitioners and support staff who have really worked very hard. When do you see the end coming in? Do you predict any end? Do you think we walk into 2021, we will be still different or we'll still have the issue?
So after a storm, there is a lull. Okay. After a tsunami, we call it the health tsunami. After a tsunami, things have to settle. So we go on with that hope because there is something called as herd immunity. Whether the herd immunity will come through natural infection or it will come through vaccine, we will have to see. Until then, we have to protect ourselves and protect the household people as well as the community. So, corona appropriate behavior. Now, very rightly, you said I wear a mask when I go out, but I come home and I remove it. Now, if you're staying all by yourself in the house with no other family member, perfectly fine. You can remove your mask and you can move around. But if the other members in the family have never stepped out, then what happens? You have stepped out. Maybe you have come in contact with a corona positive individual who was standing next to you in the grocery shop. You probably did not remember whether your mask was on your nose or it was below your nose, and you have acquired infection. Then the moment you come and remove your mask at home, we know that it is through the aerosols the transmission takes place. So you will end up infecting people in the house. So people who step out of the house are the ones who have to be overcautious and should not infect people at home.
Beautiful. And I catch your word called CAP, Corona Appropriate Behavior. CAP. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk about this CAP, Corona Appropriate Behavior. So this is an SOP by Dr. Jayanti, that Corona Appropriate Behavior. In that Corona Appropriate Behavior, she has given us very wonderful tips, Dr. Jayanti. Fascinating. Now I need to move out of COVID because I sometimes believe I should sleep and I get up and somebody says January 21, no corona, I will be happy. I don't know when that day will come. I am positive, with power of positivity I am moving, and I'm not making any money. It's all free what I am doing around the world. But I believe that what you said very rightly, that after tsunami, there is going to be a lull. And probably God is with us. God should listen to us. We just need to get out of this now. Because I used to take 4 flights on an average in a month, and I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Dr. Jayanti, now going beyond COVID, you have hundreds of publications. You are an award winning machine, so many awards. I was counting yesterday when I was putting up your profile. So many accolades, so many awards. How do you feel when you get these awards in your pursuit of your excellence? Can you share with the audience, especially women power, when they think about their excellence and how Dr. Jayanti is thinking about her excellence?
So I would only like to tell all the women who are listening to this program that a woman is a juggler. You have to juggle between your professional and personal life because there is always the requirements of the family, of the children's education. I think every stage in life, we have to prioritize and we have to see at this point, where should I focus all my attention, and maybe I can carry on with, 40% in one place and 60% in the other. So we are always juggling in our lives, and it's same as the case with me also. I have raised two children, and not only raised, they are excelling in their careers. So what I would like to say is that, yes, the road ahead is not very simple. However, we have to be focused, and always we have to keep our priorities right. Because I have seen people who, get swayed away by different things, are not able to prioritize. Yes, we have to keep our priorities. We have to strive for excellence. And whatever we get in life, I think we have to be very happy with it, contented with it, and we have to move on. But there is nothing which is called as impossible. Everything is possible. And I think, though when we are young, we want to do a lot. At that time, we have so many responsibilities, we are not able to do our best. But I think the best time for a woman is when the children have completed their professional courses and taken up jobs. And that is when your time is yours. And that is when I feel age is just a number. There's nothing called as I'm so many years old. If I tell you my age, I am very close to retirement. So, but then I never feel that way. I always feel that every year we should be doing better than what we did in the previous year.
Wow, Dr. Jayanti, big round of applause. Women is a juggler. And you gave your example of having two children and who are doing absolutely great. And your husband is also doing absolutely great. And you're also managing a work-life balance. And you said another point, which I am taking it very beautifully. You say that when your children get into the job, they're grown, after that you have a period for you to excel more, which you say that you are very close to the retirement, but at the same time, you are still excelling because today your husband is at such a senior position, your daughter is already a doctor. What's the other child doing?
So my elder daughter, she is a doctor, and the younger one, she is basically into, she's a program manager at the Instagram. She's in a very senior position. She's a senior product manager at.
Where's she? She's also in US?
Also in New York.
So both your children are in New York, your husband is away, you are in India, you're like me, my family in Canada, and I am in Bangkok in India. Fantastic. Now tell me, doctor, while we talked about your work-life balance, you as a profession of a doctor, dominated by men, so was there any issues with men not allowing you as a, when I'm talking about gender equality, when I'm talking about women empowerment, and women are still not getting that kind of an empowerment, was there any issue in terms of when you were doing MBBS or MD, when you were growing and glowing in your excellence, was there anything which men could stop, or no, it was smooth?
Actually, in the medical profession, there is a very good balance. There are enough women, and if you see, there are enough women who are doing very well. Being in India, we are very fortunate because we have support services, we have servants, drivers. So I think this is something which is to our advantage, and women in India should really cherish that, because in other parts of the globe, it is not easy for women, because they have to do the household chores also. Raising children is definitely more challenging because of the costs involved. So I think I have never faced any such problem. So medical profession is one profession where there are enough women, and being in a medical college is again an advantage because there are enough women who opt for teaching in a medical college, because that gives them a very open ground to do whatever. See, you can see your patients, you can do your diagnostics, you can teach, you have postgraduate students, you can do research. So I think it's a very satisfying journey to work in a medical college.
Very great, Dr. Jayanti. In fact, I was talking to many doctors about how they manage, and you rightly said there's huge amount of women in this profession, so there are no issues. Now, I would like to actually close my questions, and I have two major questions to ask you. One is, what in general, now not as a doctor, I'm talking about people, I have seen tough situation with many women still in India, Afghanistan, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, even Thailand, south of Thailand, uh, many developed countries as well, still women are behind. And United Nations has got this SDG, Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is gender equality and women empowerment. And this program of hashtag women power is on SDG goal number 5. What is women empowerment so far as Dr. Jayanti tells us? For you, what is that women empowerment? Because you are an ambassador. You are an ambassador of women power. What do you think is women empowerment?
See, I'll tell you one thing. I have been fortunate to have good males also in the family, whether it is my father, it is my brother, or it's my husband. So, encouragement is important.
Wow.
When it comes to empowerment, I would say, who said a woman is lesser than a man? In any given situation, a woman, because she's used to multitasking, he is able to take up the challenge and deliver.
Wow.
The only thing is we have to know how to prioritize, and plus women have so much of empathy. I think the biggest quality which a woman has when she is sitting on a very important leadership position is she can empathize with her staff. She can give flexi time to a person who's having problems. She can, if see, I have all kinds of staff. Some people want to visit doctors for their treatment. Some people have very small children. They want certain liberties during their exams. It may happen that that must be a very important day in the hospital, but that lady wants an leave for her child's exam. So a woman who has raised two children can obviously understand. And you put yourself in that position. Yeah, when I was in that position, I also needed that leave. Now, today, I'm in a position to give. So I can empathize. I can, pitch in for that person. And I think in no way I feel a woman is lesser than a male in terms of skills or the deliverables.
Fascinating. So, with that background, I am taking a commitment from you today. Would you support this Women Power Global movement, and whenever we need you and we take your advice, guidance?
Absolutely.
We have Anshul Sharma. She is the chapter in charge, Mumbai, for Women Power. She may need you for your keynote when face-to-face things come, or maybe webinar. Would you support us, ma'am?
Absolutely. I'm always in favor of women power because I don't feel that women are anyway less or they could do anything lesser than given the same opportunities.
Absolutely.
If today when my children were small, if somebody would have told me that, okay, you just go ahead, we'll take care of your kids. But you know what? The satisfaction of raising children the way you want them to be, I think that is also a very satisfying journey. So I feel it has to be a blend between the personal and the professional life. It cannot be just one way.
Fascinating. Ma'am, you have really won my heart, and today I got another women added to this concept, women of excellence added to this concept. It started from Kiran Bedi, Sister Shivani, Shazia Almi, Ambassador of India and Thailand. Many people already added. So I am going to make this collage of my women power, women of excellence, and supporters to this entire phenomena. And in fact, I would like to have more doctors talking about us. I was trying to reach Dr. Alka Kriplani of AIMS, and she has still not responded to me. Thank you so much. And before I go to the audience, what are now you have given us CAB, Corona Appropriate Behavior. Can you give us under this CAB, Corona Appropriate Behavior, 5 key things to be done? Wearing a mask, you can tell us 5 things.
Social distancing, most important.
Social
No
distance.
hugging and no kissing.
No hugging, no.
And the second, of course, I told you about. Third is about wearing a mask.
Mask.
Cover your eyes.
Cover your
Cover
eyes.
your eyes and hand hygiene. So it is important that you, whenever you touch surfaces, it is important that you wash your hands and don't keep touching your mask all the time. So it is important that when you touch surfaces, you have to sanitize your hands. Keep a cream also in order to, if your hands become dry, but never touch your face unless you sanitize your hands.
Very great. And I have now questions coming in. Ravinder Singh is saying, really inspiring to know about Dr. Jayanti. Hats off to your commitment and tribute to nation. Ek Bharat, Shreshth Bharat. Thanks, Mr. Bakshi, for enlightening us and getting that amazing personality here. I am looking for questions. So can I have SMS, social distance mask sensitization? Please let me know whose questions are there. Anshul, you can, I think you go for vote of thanks that time. You can raise your question. Other questions, anybody? I can see Ashwini Shagare here. I can see Tyagarajan ji here. I can see Malhotra ji here. And please raise your questions. In the meanwhile, I am getting questions already here. Yes, I have a lot of questions here. Just a moment. Let me take these questions. Just a moment. I will take these questions. Varsha, I am not able to take these questions out from Facebook. Can you help me? There are a lot of questions.
Just a minute, sir. You are taking from Zoom or?
No, from Facebook. There are a lot of questions already. I had a list. I think I'll have to do this.
Okay.
There were a lot of questions already raised. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, questions already. I had a list. I think I'll have to do this.
Okay.
So let me close that. Okay. Yeah, I got a question, Dr. Jayanti. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I got a question from Ramesh Chandra Bhatt, and the question is, women can be successful in every sphere of life, provided they are given an opportunity. Why not? Let's quote Kiran Bedi, Kalpana Chawla, other women. What is your opinion about it?
I think I have told you time and again, there is nothing which women cannot do. So the kind of qualities they have from within, I think they can give their best.
Okay. Do you think, Utpal Kohl is saying, do you think women are more energetic than men? If they have encouragement, they will shine.
Absolutely right. Encouragement is very important, and there should be no boundaries. There should be equal opportunities. And I think in the house, there has to be sharing of chores. And that is the only way women will be able to do whatever they have decided to do in life. Everybody has a right to their own lives. So this is one important thing I would like to bring on the table, that everybody has to have equal opportunity to fulfill their dreams.
Okay, there's someone, I don't know, I can't identify, Galaxy A2 Core is wanting to have a question, and I am going to unmute the person. Please identify yourself. I am unmuting you, and please raise your question.
I am Mahalakshmi Suresh from Nigeria.
Oh, please, from Nigeria. Raise question, ma'am.
Yeah, my question is that what are the safety precautions one would need to follow when they are traveling in air, and how do we really take precautions when we have to stay in the airport when there is a necessity to travel? So this is my question.
Sure.
When there is a necessity to travel, you have to wear a mask because that is mandated by the airlines. It's not necessary that you wear a N95 mask. You can wear a surgical mask also. Glasses are again important. I would also say that you should cover your hair with, women should cover their hair with an appropriate hair cover, and sanitize your hands. That itself, the only thing I would like to talk about in flight. In flight, what we advise is that please don't lower your mask and eat. If it's a long distance flight, you try and eat when others are not eating. Okay? So that,
okay, ma'am,
because airlines have got 50 air changes per hour. I'm talking about the good airlines. So if 50 air changes per hour are there, then you wait for an hour. When others have pulled down their mask to eat, wait, and then you can have your meal.
Fantastic.
Thank you,
Mahalakshmi
madam.
ji, thank you very much for joining from Nigeria. I go to Nigeria. I do a lot of work for United Nations, UNECA, and maybe next time we catch up. You can reach me on my LinkedIn, Facebook, anywhere. Yes.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity given.
Thank you. And I have got a question from Ashwini. Ashwini, I am unmuting you. Please go ahead with your question. You can unmute yourself now. Ashwini,
Yeah, hi, good evening, everybody.
good evening.
So my question here was, in terms of, the employment which will be open for the medical sectors, however the situations would be in the going near future, wanted to understand how sustainable is the recruitment and the employment going to be remaining in the medical sector?
In the medical sector? In the medical sector, there is a need for jobs.
Yeah.
We want doctors, we want nurses, we want paramedics. In fact, there is a dearth of the frontline warriors because there are so many facilities which have opened up, like the jumbo facilities and other facilities. So there is a dearth of qualified people. So medical sector is never going to be out of jobs. If that is the question you're looking for, an answer.
Yeah, Ashwini.
Indeed, yes, that was my question closely answered. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Ashwini, for joining. In fact, right now the recruitment is happening only in the pharma sector, nowhere else. We got this great guy, Vivek Harkoli, a business director, and he has a question. Yes, Vivek, I am going to unmute you. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Dr. Shastri.
Good evening.
Good evening, DK Bakshi.
Thank you, sir.
I have, there were a lot of takeaways that I took from Dr. Shastri. I have two questions, or rather one question. What was that one important challenge that you faced while you were a student, a medical student, and a challenge that you faced while in your profession, and how did you overcome those challenges?
See, as a student, I didn't have any challenges because I knew I had to do well. I knew I had to take up medicine as a career. And if I have to take medicine as a career, I have to really burn the midnight lamp. I have to put in my best, because it is very difficult to, get admission into a medical school after the entrance exam. The only challenge I faced, I would say challenge in the sense that you're not able to do as much as you have aspired to do, is when your children are small and your husband is also very, very busy. So my husband, he's a global leader in cancer prevention, and he used to be traveling a lot. He used to be, he's actually one of the best uh, doctors in cancer prevention in the world. And I think those are the times when I felt that I'm not able to give a lot to my profession, because the children also need your attention. And I personally believe that you cannot raise children on remote control. You have to be actually present for them. And that is the reason I chose to work in a medical college. So my timings, I chose 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. so that I'm available for my children after 4 p.m. And I think it has been very satisfying raising children and doing. So what happens is that gives you a little bit of flexibility. You do as much as you can in that much time, then you can balance and take care of your house also. And after your children are on their own, you can increase your pace, you can increase your hours of working, and then sky is the limit. You can chase your dreams.
This is a takeaway for me. Wherever there is a will, there is a way. Thank you very much, Dr. Shastri.
Very great. Thank you very much, Vivek, for joining. Dr. Shastri, now we are already over by 1 hour, and your time is very precious. Now, before that, I would like to emphasize and say, in a very of excellence, and you gave us some fascinating tips about COVID. How will you remain away from COVID? Though it is devastating, it's tough, but then how we can ensure COVID appropriate behavior with 5 tips. That was absolutely very marvelous. And I want to tell you, Dr. Jayanti, I am a global Indian, worked in 3-4 continents, 20-25 cultures. I am impressed by your wonderful thought process and simplicity and aura of greatest women power our country has provided. And today, when I have been talking to you last 1 hour, it has been a very beautiful learning experience for me, professionally and personally. When you just said, your children cannot be brought up by remote control, which is sad when we see today. First, people are not producing children because they have no time for children. And when they have children, then there's a remote control. And when you said in between that I have 2 honhar bache hain mere, they are very bright kids of mine, and your husband, one of a well-known name in the fraternity of cancer around the world. And when we see you making a mark, I am wishing that you get Padma Shri. I understand you get Padma Shri in this country, and that will be the happiest day for Tyagarajan, who is your real brother. And
Yes.
here is real brother also. We met through the digital mode, which you may not be on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter. I am tuck on this. Having said that, I would request Anshul Sharma. Anshul Sharma is our chapter in charge Mumbai for Women Power. I would unmute her and propose a vote of thanks. Anshul Sharma, she is
Before you complete, I would like to have some concluding words. I would like to say that giving to society, giving is the best feeling you can get. The more you give, the more you get. And I would end with the song, Madhuban Khushbu Deta Hai, Sagar Savan Deta Hai, Jeena uska jeena, जो को जीवन देता है, मधुबन खुशबू देता है.
You have won my heart. You won't believe. I knew that you have been singing from the childhood. I thought I will ask you to sing a song like I did with Piraz Masani and other Bollywood stars. I thought you may laugh at me, say, hey, I am a well-known doctor. Why are you asking me to sing a song? And you did it yourself. That talks volumes about yourself. And when you said that you need to give it to the society, and with this song, can we sing again together?
मधुबन खुशबू देता है, सागर सावन देता है, जीना उसका जीना है, जोरों को जीवन देता है, मधुबन खुशबू देता है.
Arey wow. Dr. Saab, you have literally won my heart. And Anshul, Anshul is the director of business school in Navi, Mumbai, and she will remain in touch. Maybe she will need some support for women power. Anshul, your vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And it's really so impressive, so inspirational, and so insightful session by Dr. Jayanti. And we are really humbly thankful to you, ma'am. And I would just say, परिंदों को मंजिल मिलेगी, परिंदों को मंजिल मिलेगी, फैले हुए उनके पर बोलते हैं, अक्सर वो लोग खामोश रहते हैं, जमाने में जिनके हुनर बोलते हैं. So I think that's the reason she's not there on any of the social media, and still she's so loud, and that the voice has reached to Government of India, and I'm sure that she will be, receiving this Padma Shri that we are looking forward for. So we are just hoping and praying for the same, ma'am. And see, one more, the slogan that has been given by our Prime Minister, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Anusandhan. So I think that's the power of your research that could control this vivid virus COVID. And in such a short span of time, you could, manage to serve the entire India by giving that testing facility. So we are really thankful to you, and would certainly, ma'am, love to have you for this association forever. And whenever the situation is normal, I would personally come and visit you. Please allow to do that. And taking your commitment for this women power, for this global movement. And so many people that you can see are listening to you today from across the globe. And that's the power we are taking from you. And on this note, from the bottom of my heart, I would thank again from the entire team. Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you, Dr. Bakshi. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anshul. Make, request Dr. Jayanti whenever there's a need for you, and she will certainly support. I have Thagarajanji.
Excellent. It was excellent, Dr. Jayanti. You have done very well, and you'll excel more in life, achieve more in life. And I am really proud of my sister, and also ambition to become a doctor. She declared at the age of 3.
Oh.
And she achieved it.
That is my encouraging brother. So
Yes.
I'm very encouraging.
She declared at the age of 3 that she wanted to become a doctor, and she became a doctor.
Fascinating.
I am very proud of my sister. Thanks for the opportunity, Mr. Bakshi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a
very
lot.
much.
Thank you.
Tyagarajan ji, you
Thanks
have
a lot.
always
Well done, very well done, Jayanti.
great support in management and leadership. And today, Faridabad Management Association is there only because of you and your commitment and your drive. Thank you very much. And Dr.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, sir.
Dr. Jayanti, I fold my hands and bow my head as a women power of excellence. And with this song, Madhuban Khushbu Deta Hai, Jo Oru Ko Jeevan Deta Hai. And in this women power, hashtag women power, a global movement with 100,000 women on board by 2021 and 1 million by 2024, irrespective of caste, creed, gender, nationality. Of course, gender is out in this, nationality, religion. It is where I am trying to give it to the society back. Mother Mother. Thanks a ton, and I will probably soon see you sometime in Mumbai.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the best. Great good luck to your future, and I pray for your Padma Shri. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ma'am, we log out 75 minutes.